Hey everyone, it's Maria from Jardin Le Papier. As promised, I am back to show you a few process and examples for making your own advent calendars. And actually, I'll probably be making 2 or 3 more just so I can also show you small box options, including some origami. This first one is similar to the big one that I just made for the Ruby and Pearl EXO design team that I picked up at Home Goods. This smaller one is $5.99, and that's a little brand. And what I'll be doing with this one is probably covering up all of the lavender. You're probably thinking, but why? Well, actually, I want this one to go with the Garden of Versailles journal. So I'll be covering the outside and inside with a combination of handmade paper plus some of my Zazzle wrapping paper on the inside. So there's one option. Second option or possibility are your candy boxes that you have saved up and or need to go out and buy. This one is the Manaloa macadamia nut. This one I'm just going to cover with some digitals. I know everyone has mailing boxes, but it's a perfect one because it's also similar to a lot of the Amazon boxes we get. And then here's a fourth one. It might actually be a little faster to make an advent calendar of this size. And I'll do a combination of some wrapping paper for this one. And I'll probably go ahead and do it at super fast speed just so you can see what kind of papers I'm using. For this Rise mailing box, I'm actually going to choose one of my wrapping papers that I was testing out on Zazzle. It has this gorgeous red flower, and you're probably thinking, but that's not very Christmassy. Well, the red and green colors are, but also you could place a giant ornament on the cover that's removable. So when they're finished with it as an advent calendar, the box can become a little beautiful piece that maybe houses some of your stamps or some of your pens. Okay, so it's day 2 actually, and I've finished 4 box samples. I still need to make the 5th one for the Versailles Gardens, but I just wanted to show you this one. This one was the Halloween cookie. Look at last night because of the lighting. It was the Halloween cookies, and I still have to line the inside, but I've combined them so that when I fill both sides with boxes, it'll actually stand just like a lot of the ones that you see in the stores. So I've covered it with authentic 1896 French ledger. You might be thinking why? Well, I do love my old French ledgers, and this one just needed that structure. I just really wanted that texture for this one. And what I'm trying to decide is whether or not I make miniature doors to replicate the New York City or Parisian storefront, or if I do little die cuts or little fabric windows and fabric awnings. Seas candy, your mailer box, your Mauna Loa macadamia nut, and then we're gonna do a couple of small origami for today. Actually, I'll show you this one. It's a self-closing lid just because of the size so that you can get yourself started. So it's 1 piece of origami paper. And then we'll also make the smaller ones that I showed you in the earlier part of the video, these little miniature origami boxes. So we'll have to figure out what kind of envelopes to make for you, where you can put little paper clips or little cards, a little baby ephemera in there. First one, we're gonna make these teeny tiny picture frame window boxes, lid and bottom. And the window, you can put any image you'd like. So you're going to start with a 6-inch square, and that could be a traditional origami piece or a digital. In this case, I'm using this Ruby and Pearl XO digital. So that's going to be your top piece, the 6-inch square. The 4-inch square is going to be the bottom of your box, centimeters by 10 centimeters square. So the color or the print side down, we're going to fold up to the top. Sharp edges helps with the folding. Okay, now you have your 4 square creases here. You'll see that. And we're going to form a triangle up to the center of your square, all 4 sides. So it looks like that. Since this is the bottom and we don't need a picture window, we're going to go ahead and create the shape of the square. So all 4 edges, we're going to line them up to the center of all of these triangles. Open up your square and kind of give a pinch to opposite diagonal sides. That just helps you form your diagonal when you're forming your box. So that's all I'm doing. So when you pinch it on both sides, it forms a diagonal. Take one lip up, looks like a little mini envelope. I like to crease in my little edges here just to give me a little bit of a boundary for where my box edges will be. See where the creases were. I'm going to pinch this in where the diagonal was. And it looks like you formed almost like a little envelope. See how I'm pinching in here on the sides? You can see the edges of your box. See this diagonal here? It already wants to fold in. So I'm just going to push that up. See how it forms the edge of your box already? There's one edge, and see how this one already wants to form, and there's your second edge. That's how it should look. I'm going to go ahead and glue down these little edges here just to give my box some shape. I'm just going to glue right in that little crease a little bit, pinch. Again, it looks like a little envelope formed on one side, and then I'm going to glue the tip, and then I'm going to fold it over right to the edge of that box. So fold over and form one end of your box. Find your edges for your box just to help you, and then pinch in or poke in both sides. See how it already wants to form, and fold up. Pinch in and fold up. So it made the exact same shape on the opposite side. It looks like a little envelope is starting to form. Bottom piece. Now we're going to work on the top. So the top will be the 6-inch square. We're going to basically follow the same exact instructions except for one extra layer. So flip it over, color side down. Since this is the lid where we want a little window, this is the extra step. So now you're at this point here, you're going to flip it over, and you're actually going to bring your corners to the very center. So this is the back side, and you're going to bring each corner to the center. You're at the same point where you were with a box, where you're going to form the shape of the box. So long edge up to the dot, and do that for all 4 edges. Of your square, if you see them there. I'm going to go to opposite corners, and I'm just going to pinch just to form a little bit of that diagonal. That'll help us form the box a little bit. So I'm going to do that on opposing corners, pinch, forms the diagonals right here for folding later. But before we fold our box, we're going to flip it over, and now you see that there are lines that that box formed around each frame. You're going to take your little point and fold to the edge of those lines. Basic shape you like, and it's primarily straight. Just fold your little flap inside. So you're going to see my pen marks for this one for the purpose of the tutorial, but that's okay. Tuck in 3 and tuck in 4. So now that's going to be the face where you put your image. So let's form the box, flip it over. Open one of your flaps, doesn't matter which one. We're going to start forming the box again. I like to bring in my edges just so I can see where the box edges are. That way make them extra crisp so you've got the shape. And I'm going to bring this up because I know this is going to be my square. Find that diagonal, push, find that diagonal, push, and then bring the lower piece that wants to form a corner right up. There's your corner. There. So it looks like a little envelope, just like the first piece we made. Half your box. Don't glue the other side yet. Prepare your other side. But before you glue it down, flip it over and put some sort of image in here. Scrap of Ruby and Pearl XO digital. So I'm just going to slide this one into those two corners. Get it in. You could open up some of your folds if you need to. Now you can flip over and finish making your box. And there's your lid. And even if you've glued down the second side, you can still replace your picture. You just might need a pen or something to help you push in another image. 6-inch square, 4-inch square, and they should fit. There we go, nice and tight. You'll notice I used two different types of paper. This was drawing paper, and I had this printed at the print shop. I think this one was laser. This one is traditional origami, so it's a little thinner and easier to fold. And of course it comes with in many designs. It's not just solid. There's one. And what I did was, for these boxes last night, I went ahead and tested out a few pieces to see how many would actually fit across. So this was the Seas Candy. And I can fit across 5 by 4 tall. So that's 20 boxes at the base. So that leaves you either 4, 5, or 7, depending on how you follow your advent calendar and if you follow it exactly at the end of November. Or you can mix and match it with other box styles, but keep in mind that the last few pieces for your advent will likely have to be thinner envelope styles like this. So these are the little charms that I've received from Catherine in France. She gave me 3 collections of 25, so of course you'll want to put maybe some tissue paper at the bottom and then 1 charm each box. And there's 1 gift down and 24 more little gifts to go. How it looks in this little Mauna Loa macadamia nut box. This one you could fit across 6 times 3, so that's 18. And you'll notice there's an extra lip or space down here, so we'll have to figure out what can actually fit down here. Envelopes as well, obviously. Oh, if you want to make your boxes that we just made without a window frame, that's your cover, so it's going to be a 6-inch square. We're going to make our folds. We're going to bring the edge of our paper to the center dot on all 4 sides. Instead of flipping it over to form our second layer of triangles, I'm going to leave it on the side with the flaps, and I'm going to bring in the corners to the very center. Shape. Once you've brought all of your corners to the center dot for the second time, you have a smaller square. Now we're going to form the edges of the box, still on the same side. If you see that. There's a basic shape of your lid. Okay, so on the other side it's just solid because we didn't form the frame. You just worked on one side. Okay, so you're going to open up one of your flaps just like the other boxes, corner together, pinch to form that, and do the same. There's your corner. It wants to fold in automatically. Pinch it in. Let's see, let's replace one of these. There. So as you'll notice, it's a little harder to center your images if you have a favorite one, if you don't want to form the little frame, but it's definitely possible. Okay, so for their single piece, we're going to start with a 6-inch square origami paper, and we're actually going to make a halfway line. Color side down, bring that halfway up. So that's going to be your crease A is your very center. So crease A is your very center. Center. So the bottom of your piece of paper to the center, line A. Make that straight. So now you should have 2 creases. Crease A, crease B. Now line B is where you're going to bring the lower edge up to again. So lower edge up to line B. That forms your 3rd crease right there. So A, B, C. Okay. So leaving that flap down, colored flap down, I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to bring the lower edge all the way to the top to meet line B. Make them flush and crease. Okay, so you have a piece like this. Open that up, and you now have crease D. Right there, right below the center line. You're going to bring the top down and bend at crease A over. So now your piece of paper should look like that. So let me do. We're going to fold at A down. So we have a little bit of solid and a little bit of white. Now you're going to bring your long edge all the way up and over that colored piece. No crease yet, we're making crease E. So there. See? So we brought the long edge and folded it at the edge of the colored piece. When you open that up, you now have crease E. So those are your long creases. I'm going to hold this open and put that up and down or perpendicular. We're going to fold up in half. So now that second long crease is going to be marked D, E, F. So there's your second big crease. A was your first one. Okay, paper, and put it straight up here so that your line or your crease E is towards the bottom. We're going to fold that bottom piece of the paper up to meet E. Crease E. Okay, so you should see something like this. Bottom of the piece of paper up to meet fold or crease E. And while this is on the bottom, we're going to bring both sides in to center F. So the side without a fold, we're going to bring into F, which is your center crease. And like this, both sides are going to meet the center. Okay. So now you just have additional G and H. Okay. So your bottom one, go ahead and open up and see how we formed crease E over here. You're going to bring your bottom left diagonally to meet crease E. On both sides. So bottom corner up to meet crease E. Remember how we just made crease F down here, the little one? We're going to bring that back up. So now your folds look like this. Well, hopefully a little neater than mine. There. We're going to flip it on its top. When we flip it on its top, let's just revisit those side creases, G and H, that we made earlier, and now you have a shape something like this. So it looks like the top of someone's shirt. So remember our line A here. When we turn this over to the color side, I'm going to mark our line A just so we remember where that was. This was the original line A, or crease A, from the other side, which was the center. What we're going to do is we're going to bring both corners up to meet line A. So solid side down, corner up to crease A. Same with the other side, up to crease A. Okay. We're going to put this bottom side, top side up. We're going to fold these two corners now to meet. Okay. So corner, that's already bent, and we're going to fold it up to line D. Crease. Do the same here. Up to meet that crease. Okay, so you have something like this. We're going to flip over to the white side again. When we flip it over, you're going to have this little section that's folded solid and the smaller fold on the bottom. And you're going to notice that there's already a triangle formed right on both sides. Triangle there and a triangle here. We're going to glue in both of those triangles. I'm going to bring this fold down and notice where the triangles are already glued, and there's that natural line. So that much is glued down. Do the same thing on this side. Fold over your left side and press down where you've glued. So now you have what looks like a shirt, an open shirt, open V-neck shirt right here. And we're actually getting close to forming our box. Because if you'll notice, when I push down, you suddenly have edges of boxes. And because we already made our crease A and that other crease earlier, if you just fold and fold, you can bring your top and bottom together. This is where it helps to have really strong creases on your edges, but you now have a self-closing box. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up my creases and see if I can keep the lid shut. I'm just strengthening these creases that we made originally. Let's see if that'll help close. So the thinner part of the box is the top. And there you go. Ta-da! And it stays closed because your creases are nice and sharp, or nice and strong. And then I'm going to fill it with a little bit of tissue just to help keep the structure. But isn't that exciting? And then that fits into your little candy box advent calendars. So hopefully these 2 smaller boxes will give you just enough to get started with your own advent calendar. Whether you make it with smaller candy boxes, shallow ones, just like this Mauna Loa macadamia, or you go bigger with the shipping boxes, these shapes still pertain. So again, just keep your origamis pieces square, whether it's 6-inch, 7-inch, or 8-inch. You can adjust the sizes of your boxes by following the same instructions. Just a little bit of tissue. Take your little charm or your gift. Close, and your ribbon is optional. So for Ruby and Pearl XO Tuesday, I'm going to do an extra tutorial with a couple more smaller or origami boxes that can be size adjusted, and also some smaller envelopes and or bags. So this one is super cute. Inside there, on the outside. So you can still use your little envelopes for Advent.